Hello, everyone, and welcome to the You Are Mark on the World show. I'm your host, Devin Thorpe. I'm a contributor at Forbes covering social entrepreneurship and impact investing. Our guests today are Alex and George Khachatryan, who are the CEO and founder and the co-founder and senior vice president, respectively, of Reasoning Mind. And the company just won the RightStep Innovation Prize from Deloitte. Congratulations, gentlemen, and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Devin. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, we're really happy about this. I wonder, Alex, if you would just tell us the story of Reasoning Mind. What is it?
Reasoning Mind is a non-profit mathematics education initiative that has a mission of providing a first-rate mathematics education to every child. So we've been established with that mission, and we stay on it.
Fantastic. George, tell us a little bit about the competition, if you would, this Deloitte Prize. This is a big deal.
It is. It is a big deal. So Deloitte has actually been incredibly involved over the years in helping nonprofits, and in particular education nonprofits, expand. And so, for example, City here and College Summit, a lot of really outstanding organizations have benefited, and they've kind of really helped them expand nationally. And so Deloitte was looking for a way to identify additional nonprofits that are basically that have developed something that's working really well, and that just need help from an organization with all the clout and connections and knowledge that Deloitte has to help them expand. And so Deloitte had this competition, the RightStep Innovation Prize, which was 3 rounds, very meticulously judged by a lot of Deloitte's employees. Over 100 different organizations applied, and we were very fortunate to be selected and to have won the prize.
Tell us a little bit about what happens at each round, George. So first round, second round, third round. What does the process look like? How many competitors?
Yeah. So in the first round, it's a written application, and then they whittle it down to I believe just over 20. And then in the second round, it's a more in-depth written application and also a phone conversation. And then they select just 5 finalists. And the 5 finalists, that's the third round, actually all came to New York, to Deloitte's office in 30 Rock, actually, in that building, where a lot of Deloitte senior partners in a committee listened to presentations. And they wanted to learn about the organization. What's the impact that it's having? They wanted to make sure that it was an organization that really was benefiting students. And second of all, they wanted to make sure that the organization was in a place where, with Deloitte's help, they could really expand nationally. So where they were they were poised for this quick expansion that Deloitte wanted to help happen. And so then after that, a few days thereafter, they conferred, and shortly after that, we found out that we had been selected.
That's a huge win. Alex, tell us a little bit, what is the prize? So you won. What did you get?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've got a couple of things. Well, first of all, we've got a $100,000 cash prize, which is certainly is very meaningful to us. We also received another $100,000 in pro bono professional services from Deloitte, which is also very important and timely for us. We need a lot of help as a growing organization, so we need a lot of good consulting to come our way. So we're very excited about that part, and we're currently in the process of selecting jointly with Deloitte what kind of a project that they could do for us under this pro bono arrangement that will be most meaningful and impactful for the organization. And the third piece, which to me is probably of the utmost importance to us, is the engagement of the Deloitte as an organization in helping scale Reasoning Mind and bring our program to many more school districts, children, and teachers across the country. So that part, leveraging Deloitte's network and of volunteers that really want to make a difference, coordinated by Deloitte as the company, by their community citizenship program, is the most exciting thing for me in this program.
Oh, that's great. Well, again, congratulations. Now, Alex, you are an immigrant from Russia, but it seems to me that isn't just a random fact. That informed the foundation of reasoning mind. Tell us a little bit about the connection between being from Russia, being an immigrant, and founding this nonprofit.
Yes, there's definitely a connection, and actually a couple of things came together. In particular, me being from Russia that helped found Reasoning Mind. The most important thing being is that I was and am the product of a different education system. When I came to the United States, I was all fully educated. I was about 34 years old, so I had my education completed, including my PhD. So all my mathematics education in particular was also received back in Russia. And I had a privilege of seeing how mathematics would be taught to grade level students in a different way. And that gave me a perspective and allowed me to compare some of the teaching and learning that I've seen in the United States, which became home to me and which I very much love, and to compare how mathematics was taught here with how it was taught back in Russia. And I've seen some things that could be improved. And also another thing that helped me was that I was doing research in the area of artificial intelligence, in particular in the area called expert systems, which studies how human expertise could be extracted, for the lack of a better word, from experts and imparted on a computer system that will simulate the thought process of a human expert. So those two things came together in my head, and at a certain point in time, I thought that wouldn't be nice if we could bring some of the wonderful experience and knowledge of Russian teachers of mathematics, simulating them in a computer expert system, and make those available to American teachers and students. And since it was a very different way of teaching mathematics, it had some benefits that were created for whatever historical reasons in Russia over a very, very significant period of time, and I thought that they might benefit American students.
Now, George, maybe you can help us see what's evolved from those early days as the enterprise has grown and thrived and flourished. What's changed?
Yeah. Well, I'd say that at every stage, we've needed to reinvent ourselves for the next one. It's a very difficult challenge. So if you want to improve anything in education, often it seems at first like it'll be very easy. And that's what we thought initially. We thought, well, we'll make this really great software system and we'll put a great curriculum in it, and then we'll make it available to students and teachers, and voila, 2 years later, world peace, everybody knows mathematics. Turns out it's not so easy. And that's something we've learned along the way. And so, you know, the first thing we realized is just how difficult it is to make good online curriculum. You can't just take text and put it on a screen. You have to constantly be thinking about new ways to make it interactive, new ways to engage students in the learning, because otherwise the materials will just fall flat. And so one thing that we've seen change has been that the materials have become increasingly more sophisticated. We've had to every year make it more and more interactive, to where if you look at the system right now, it's not something like an iPhone app. It's a very sophisticated application which has just a lot there, and that's by necessity. And the second thing I'd point to has been the way of working with schools. You know, initially we also thought it was sort of this this app mentality, put it online and tell schools about it. And we found that that doesn't work as well. Because the human factor is so complex in education. And so you really need to work very closely with entire communities. We need to work with students, we need to train teachers, we need to work with administrators, we need to involve parents in some cases. So it really is a very complicated system, and we found that we've needed to create a whole implementation department, to where now if we want to partner with a school district, we need to have actual full-time people who are available to answer the teachers' questions, to support them, to really be true partners. And that's something we weren't expecting at first, but we ended up focusing on a lot, and right now it's a big part of what we do.
Well, it is, you know, wonderful stuff that you're doing. Alex, give us just some sense of scale of your impact. How many, maybe you can tell us how many schools you're in or how many students are on the program. Give us some sense of scale.
We're currently in a little over 500 schools in 8 states. For the most part, for now it's in Texas, but we have significant presence in California, in West Virginia, and in 5 other states. and we served, as of the end of this last school year that ended in May, we served a little over 100,000 students.
That is really a remarkable scale. I mean, that's huge already, and that's exciting. It will be exciting to see how things go and grow from here. You guys have done so much that you guys are becoming genuine, bona fide role models. People look up to you and are grateful for the things that you're doing and creating. I wonder who you each look up to. Maybe Alex, you could go first, and then George, you could just tell us who you look up to as role models.
My role model would be my mother. I understand that not that many of our viewers probably heard about my mother, probably none, but she'd been an absolutely remarkable person. So much integrity and dedication to everything that she'd done. I think that left a huge mark on who I am and shaped who I am. So yeah, that's what my role model is in how to do things that are sometimes very difficult to do and require your full focus and dedication. Without that, I think it would be difficult to achieve anything that I could say was so much meaningful in my life.
George, what about you?
Well, if I had to think of one role model, one of my role models is a mathematician named Mira Bernstein. And Mira, the way that I fell in love with mathematics was by going to a math camp, which is exactly as geeky as it sounds. And this was the summer after freshman year of high school. And this math camp, which still happens to this day every summer, is a really extraordinary institution. It's about 100-something high school students, and graduate students run it, and there are undergraduates there, and it's this incredibly welcoming, vibrant community that just really loves math. And so you show up not knowing anything about math, besides what you learned in school, and you leave wanting to be a mathematician. And this largely happened because of essentially initially one of her efforts, Mira Bernstein. There was already a math camp when she came to the math camp, but it was a very small math camp. She nurtured it. She recruited really outstanding graduate students to come and work at the math camp. And it was this camp that nobody really knew about. She was just doing it for the love of doing it. And now there's an entire generation of mathematicians, many of whom got excited through math camp because of these incredible efforts that she was doing as a volunteer in addition to having her full-time jobs all the time, which is incredible. I still have no idea how she did it, but it had just such an extraordinary impact on an entire generation of mathematicians.
Oh, that's a great story. Great story. I wonder if George, you would tell us, and then maybe Alex, you could respond to this as well, but you guys are clearly smart people. There are a lot of different things you could do. I mean, heavens, Alex, you've got a PhD. George, bright, capable, young guy. Why are you doing this? Why are you running a nonprofit to educate people in math? George, you first.
Well, I think for me it started with loving math and being excited about math. And I think that when you really are excited about something, it's kind of natural to want to share it with people. And then when an opportunity comes around to do that, you take it, and then you get sucked in, right? The more you do it, the more you become interested in it, and you keep going. So Reasoning Mind got started when I was in high school, and my dad had the idea, came to me and my mom, and said, "Hey, I have this idea. What do you guys think about this family project?" And we both thought it was cool, so we tried it out, and then you know, if you're enjoying it, if it's work worth doing, it sucks you in.
No, that's great. Alex, what about you?
What really makes me happy when I could help kids discover something that really excites them, something that can open a completely new opportunity, a new avenue in their lives. I remember myself being a kid, so that's how I was hooked with mathematics and physics. It was just a new world that's opened up in front of me all of a sudden. And giving these kind of opportunities and experiences to kids, which I know they could experience, they just quite often don't get a chance. They never have an opportunity to discover how fulfilling, interesting, exciting mathematics, physics, and other hard sciences, so to say, could be. That can make their life so much different, can direct them in a very different path in their lives. So they could really find themselves and discover themselves, their true beings, and become happy in their life. So I think that's what moves me in the first place. And we've seen kids that experience that with the help of our product, with the help of our program at schools. We've seen those light bulbs coming on in their heads, which is the most rewarding experiences for me. I don't think that I could have done anything else that would have excited me as much and where I would feel that much of a sense of a satisfaction, accomplishment as with that. But another thing which is also quite important is that I feel very much that the next generations of kids, if they do not get good education in mathematics, it'll be increasingly difficult for them to be successful in their lives. Just the jobs of the future, for the most part, many of them, for the most part, they're going to require the knowledge of mathematics, engineering, computer science, things that are very mathematical in the way that the thinking that needed there requires and dictates. So I think that not only helping kids discover their true destiny and their true being, but also helping them being successful in their lives just as members of society and being happy with a career that will give them a good job, a satisfying job, is also very important to me. And I think that that goal is included in what moves me to do Reasoning Mind.
That's great. Well, there are the people who are watching this show are interested in a whole variety of different things: social entrepreneurship, impact investing, philanthropy, corporate social responsibility. But all of them have in common one thing, and that is a desire to do more good in the world. And you've been very successful at that. I wonder if you can think of something you do every day that helps you to be more successful at having impact. And Alex, why don't you go first, and then we'll ask George to answer as well.
I'd say that the probably most impactful weapon in my arsenal of managing Reasoning Mind was fostering a very collaborative environment in how we deliberate and make decisions at a pretty high level, and would try to instill the same type of attitude across the organization. So it was very easy to make kind of lethal mistakes early on in our project, because we've been a startup, kind of social venture, but at the same time we've done this as any venture project. That means that if we are successful in step one, then we're moving to step two, and that's how the project was developed. So if at any stage we make a critical mistake, that mistake would have been lethal. I think that the only way and the only reason how we managed to avoid these kind of mistakes was because we deliberated things collectively, jointly. It was true collaborative environment, and I felt like not in a position to make all decisions by myself. And at certain times I had to call the shots and do this. But I felt kind of responsible to prove to my peers, to my colleagues, that what I'm suggesting or what we're all discussing is really the right way to do, to go for it. And when you have this kind of a mentality, this kind of an attitude, when you're just not in charge, and that's why you're entitled to make decisions, but when you open yourself up for criticism and other suggestions are fine, and you have to prove yourself, and those things that you are suggesting, those decisions that you are suggesting, or those that others are bringing to the table for that matter, if you feel like they have to be proven, quite proven before they're implemented, I think that's what has been historically a huge part of the success of what we do. And I strongly recommend other managers to consider this strategy unless they're already using it.
Great, great. And George, what about you? What makes you successful? What do you do every day that makes you successful?
Well, if I had to identify one thing, I think that one thing that I realized at some point is that what one person can do is going to be inherently very limited. right? I mean, sure, you can do some things, but it really is going to depend much more on the team and on your colleagues than on anything that you can do. Unless you're a poet. If you're a poet, then probably you're good. But for pretty much anything else, and certainly for reasoning mind, that's the case. And so if you think about that, well, what are the implications? Well, one implication is that you should spend an awful lot of time on recruiting, on just finding exceptionally talented people so they know about your organization and bringing them into the organization. But I think that very few managers actually spend a lot of time on recruiting. I think that we all know that having a strong team makes it or breaks it. But I don't think that a lot of people actually in the hustle and bustle of every day can make time for that. And that's something that I've really struggled with and have really tried to make an effort to do. And I've tried to spend a lot of my time on that. And looking back, if I were to identify one thing that made the biggest difference of everything I've done, it's probably that. It's the fact that there are a lot of extraordinarily talented people at Reasoning Mind, some of whom I first shared Reasoning Mind with them and was able to bring them to the organization. And now, years later, looking at all the amazing things they've done, that's really what's allowed Reasoning Mind to be successful. So I think recruiting is probably what I'd identify.
Great. Well, I appreciate those insights. George, before we go, tell us how people can learn more about Reasoning Mind.
You can go to our website, www.reasoningmind.org, or you can follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, or on your social media of choice.
Fantastic. Well, Alex and George, thank you both for being here with us today. We wish you every success.
Thank you, Devin. It was a pleasure.
All righty. Let's do some good.